On this edition of the Koffers, let's throw some heat on that fire. Well, it's taken me a minute to get around to some of the acquisitions I got over the summer during my trips to both G-Fest and Comic-Con, but I figured, why not? Let's take a break from all the -1 and Godzilla and Kong madness to look at some other fun stuff. So what we have here is from G-Fest, and this is from a little independent producer called YMSF, or Sakura Toys, I believe. So these are technically licensed. The way it works in Japan, from what I have been told, is that if you want to manufacture your own toys, you get like a limited license, and you're allowed to produce in small quantities. So YMSF, they've been around for a while. I believe it's one or two. It's one sculptor and a few other people. And their bread and butter is doing stuff that Bandai doesn't really touch or has not touched. So kind of like, well, there's no figure made of it. Why don't we make a figure of it? And one of the figures that Bandai has not yet done in a proper 6-inch, Zilla. And I refer to him as Zilla because that is how I refer to him in canon with everything else. Yes, he's still technically Godzilla. And the version we are looking at today is the animation colorway from the actually very good animated series that I enjoyed as a young teenager. And I'm pretty sure many of you did. So on top of getting this guy exclusive, who was an exclusive G-Fest, I picked up these two other little pieces. So we're going to look at all three of these guys and see how they stack up. So here we have Zilla in his animated series colorway, as it was being sold at G-Fest. So the color is to reflect how he looked in the actual show, not the opening, because he's a little more grayer. So he's got like a darker purplish hue to him, and the spines are much more blue. So YMSF makes these in small runs. So they are all hand sculpted and then molded and then produced via mold. And they do maybe 100, 150 at a time, if that, of each colorway. Like I said, I'm not sure how intricate the licensing is, but from what I've been told, you can do so many of each colorway. So this guy right here, as I said, so the gentleman sculpts all this stuff himself. He does it on a computer, then goes to the first sculpt. It's all done in vinyl, makes the mold, and then we get this guy. So these are pretty much hand painted, which adds a lot of detailing, and it gives a lot of freedom to do other colorways. So there is two other ones. There's the standard, and then there is a Trendmasters super grayscale one, just like how the Trendmasters figures were. And this guy stands about 6 inches. He is in line with all the Bandai figures, as what YMSF does. Like I said, their goal is to pretty much produce figures that Bandai either won't or will never bother to. And sadly, so far, Zilla, or Godzilla, depending on which way you look at him, has not been produced in a 6-inch scale at all, which I'm still astonished to by this day. So, took upon himself. Now, as for the figure itself, it's pretty awesome. You can see the level of detailing. The paint job is immaculate, and it's got this wonderful finish on top. You can see the shine coming off of the light. He does have some points of articulation, as you can see here. The arms, the legs, and the tail. So, before you ask, how does one go about getting his figures? Because he has produced actually quite a few, including some very cool deep cut stuff like Orga with the mouth open, and other variations of some kaiju that have not seen the light of day in vinyl form. Well, you can follow him on Instagram and order directly from his Instagram, or if you happen to be at a show, normally G-Fest, he shows up and sells these bad boys direct to consumer. This guy was only $57. It's really not bad for what is essentially a very limited edition figure. That is well within a price range that many collectors consider affordable. And considering that these are done in just small waves, if you don't grab them when they come out, you're kind of SOL. So, awesome figure. Let me show you the other two little guys that I picked up as well, because those are even deeper cuts. Octopus and Sea Snake. Yes, yeah, again, when I was talking about deep cuts, this is the stuff I'm talking about. So these are just tiny little molded figures that he sells as a set. So you can get the Sea Snake and Octopus together. I paid about $25 for them. The Sea Snake is in a couple of segments. So there's a head, and then there's the tail. And much like everything else, they are molded plastic or vinyl. And then the Octopus. So if you know your Godzilla lore, King Kong versus Godzilla, or the Gargantuas, or the last moments of the deleted ending of Frankenstein Conquers the World, there's always a big octopus to be found somewhere in the South Pacific. And then Sea Snake here comes from King Kong Escapes. Like I said, you're never ever going to see Bandai produce anything like this. YMSF also does the giant condor from Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. So, and again, very, very affordable. $25 for really deep cuts. I love deep cut stuff. That is my favorite thing to collect now. So these sit perfectly with the rest of my Bandais in my collection. I absolutely love these guys. So very simple, very basic, but still pretty awesome. And there you guys have it. These are some of my G-Fest buys from this past summer. So yeah, awesome. Remember, if you like what you see, we do have a podcast. It is called the Kaiju Kingdom Podcast. It is available at thekaijukingdompodcast.com for download, along with our other shows, including The Rundown and Common Kaisers. If you don't like downloading, you can find us under any of your favorite podcast streamers, under the Kaiju Kingdom Podcast. We are also on X at the Kaiju Kingdom, Instagram at the Kaiju Kingdom, and Facebook.com/the Kaiju Kingdom Podcast. And if you like what you see, feel free to leave a like, a share, whatever you want to do. It's a free country. I'm not telling you anything to do that you don't want to do yourself, but we do appreciate it if you give us a follow. And that will wrap it up for this edition of the Koffers. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.